Namaskar. Welcome to this English edition of PGurus. What we are going to discuss, friends, is a host of issues, and we are going to talk about Modi's Trump's meeting. What are the highlights? There are around 10 to 15, but they are all scattered and they're all over the media. So we are going to pick up what are the relevant ones, what we can talk about. What are the challenges vis-a-vis Pakistan, Bangladesh, and China, which are picked up? What are the geo-tactical shifts after this meeting? And what are the dangers we are looking forward to? This is going to be a comprehensive package where we are going to decode each one of them and highlight all the aspects of it, a 360-degree coverage, and you have to be with me and with us till the last. You just have to give me 10 seconds. We'll be back.
Namaskar. To understand how well this meeting went, you should listen to people who are not in United States, not in India. CNN had a Taiwan-based journalist weigh in on this meeting, and he said that the Modi team had come well prepared. They had their handle on everything. They knew exactly what to say to what question. He said that, I don't usually, say these things, but this was one of the best prepared meetings and attended. And he also said that Modi held his own alongside Trump, so much so that Trump said that Modi is a better negotiator than me. I mean, for a businessman to say that thing, it doesn't come easily.
Correct.
Right? So there is a lot that happened. I mean, I'm not sugarcoating here. I'm just quoting something. This is on CNN channel. CNN typically doesn't like India. Sumit, there are a lot of things changing.
Correct.
I'm sure the anchor also was surprised when this guy come and said all the things that went. So basically, this is what it is, viewers. I know we've done a few programs today on the meeting and the outcome, but there was so much covered that there is still there are still a lot of things that impact India militarily, as well as how its relations are going to change around its not so friendly neighbors. So I leave it now to Sumitji. Take it away, sir, and please like this video.
What I have to, in the name of Bhagwan Sri Ganesha, we have to do Sri Ganeshas of today's podcast. But what I have to like you on in the beginning is to like this video, because we are going to talk a lot of things. And I'm sure this has not been covered before. And we are going to talk of a 360 degree of what are the major geopolitical implications of this meeting. Look, if I divide this, our talk today, we can divide it into 3 or 4 parts. What did Modi and Trump achieve? What are the finite achievements? What is on the table? What are the talks which are going on, not concluded? Then we'll move to the impact. What are the challenges of this and what are the risks or dangers associated with it? Then we move to the last part, is how do Pakistan, China, and Bangladesh look into it? And at the end, we'll come up and talk about what are the geo-tactical shifts, permanent shifts which have happened in the global landscape. This is how we are going to talk with. If I begin with something, I can identify 10 to 15 finite points which have been achieved here. Now, I'll try to put them. I don't know why our media, in India is not trying to put them in a very logical fashion. I'm seeing more of international media doing it than the local media. I don't know reasons why, but anyway, that doesn't matter. So let's start with the first thing. There have been 2 focal points of the talk. The one focal point is defense. Second is trade. And third is energy. I can say defense, energy, and trade. These have been the 3 focal points of the talks. If I talk of defense, we are talking of a comprehensive defense treaty, comprehensive defense arrangement, which is not for Modi or which is not for Trump, which will go beyond Modi and Trump, which will go for decades to come. It's a different tectonical shift. Well, traditionally, we have been always depending on the Soviet weapons, where 70% of the weapons are still Soviet. Now it will be a major shift what India is planning to do. All right. So this is the first thing which is in talking. Now the defense deals which have been done between India and USA as on date are around $19 billion. And we are hoping to bring this business up to multiple folds of this. So 19 billion is not good enough. We are going to bring it up to multiples of this. That is the vision. Now, when you talk about the defense cooperation, there are 2 or 3 things in mind, broadly speaking. I wish that this program was 2.5 hours and I could go more into details, but it is not. So I have to limit myself in 15 minutes. The first thing is, when you talk about the defense cooperation, the first thing is that now India and US will be working very closely. There was earlier only one major exercise, that was Malabar, which was happening. Now there will be multiple exercises which should be done, and at multiple platforms and in multiple arenas, the exercises have been planned. Now talk about the defense hardware. America was reluctant at times to ship the best of the defense hardware to India due to their own reasons or strategic interest and all. That is gone. What we know F-35 is on the table, F-18A is on the table, F-16 is on the table, and then unmanned aerial vehicles, drones, advanced AWACS, they're all on the table. Basically, anything and everything which you want is on the table. There's a pros and cons of it, that what you want to do, we are ready to do with that. There's something called as UT. UT is wherein United States works with a country, wherein you become their defense development partners. What does defense development partner mean? Defense development partner means the defense development partner means wherein you are working with them and get into development of futuristic weapons, futuristic platforms, and futuristic shields. So it will have three paradigms of it. So that is what they are being talked about. So it is not only what you can buy from me now. What is the future? How are you going to work together, and how are you going to develop this? For example, BrahMos is a good example of this. Now, with this cooperation, India will be able to replicate, even after Modi ji is gone, a lot of success stories like BrahMos. Unless and until somebody comes and puts a spanner into it, that all is all set. The point which our media is, one is exercises, one is weapons, one is this, and this is no technology transfer bars, no problems. I didn't hear a word about technology transfer. I did not hear a word which I was very diligently tracking is US export control, which is atrocious at times. There is no talk of US export control. So if there's no US export control and there is technology transfer, it is a brilliant gain for India. And the defense deficit or the trade deficit India has reduces $32 billion. Now what we are going to buy is in due course of time is $150 billion of weapons. So this $32 billion doesn't even matter in the bigger scheme of things. Here, I want you to bring to another aspect. You see, once Trump offered us F-35, immediately Russians offered us Su-57. A lot of people started questioning me, what should we do? I said, we need both. You need both. Even there's a Russian 7th generation program, which they're not talking about. And there's an American 7th generation program. We should get into both. Because China is ganging up Muslim countries against us. Let's not be naive about it. China is ganging up 7 to 8 Muslim countries against us. It's happening as we talk. Now, another thing which nobody is talking about is a very, very important achievement. US media quotes President Trump and Prime Minister Modi have taken a resolve to have a cooperation and work closely on combating the most pertinent danger to the America and India and to the whole world, that is radical Islamic terror. I am surprised why nobody is not talking here. Why everybody wants to be politically correct when the two leaders are calling it out. The most imminent threat to the world is radical Islamic terror. Salute. I salute both the leaders because this is what I wanted to be on the written agenda. So we'll work very closely and tackle all that. Now, when you talk of radical Islamic terror, you have to also talk of terror financing. Where does Islamic terror get the money? Who finances Islamic terror directly and indirectly? How is their money laundered? Where are the tax havens? Because if you want to crack down on them, you have to crack down comprehensively on each and everything. And that is going to upset a lot of paradigms in Middle East. That is going to upset one or substantially impact one tax haven in Middle East. But I don't have to take the name. You can imagine what I am mentioning about. There are a lot of people who were asking me what is happening there. I said, wait and watch. Now you got the answer what is happening there. That's point number 2. Point number 3, which people are sincerely missing. We are in 2025. And there's a mission, there's a resolution that by 2030, 5 years down the line, just 5 years down the line, the trade target between India and United States of America is $500 billion. $500 billion. That is what makes my heart swell. because that means America has plans to replace the trade it is doing with China with the trade it will do with India. It's a very clear indication. 5-year plan worked out. 5 साल में करना है. It's a 5-year plan which has been worked out. From 120, 129 or 170 to $129 as what the trade is, you're talking of a 500 billion trade in 5 years. So you're talking of almost tripling 4 or 5, getting your trade 5 times. And when we are talking of 5 times of trade, that means immense cooperation at all paradigms. Another which underline which is there, which I could not kind of verify, there's already talks of a kind of a free trade agreement which have happened, but nobody is willing to talk on it. But there's some rumors in the air which I'm hearing from right and left. There's a talk like that. So $500 million trade and a free trade agreement in 5 years, 2030. Modi ji is going to be in office in 29, right? So by 29, we can imagine it has crossed $350 to $400 billion. And Trump is going to be in office till 29. So even if we are not talking 500, we're talking at least 400 by the time both the gentlemen are in the office. It's a fantastic achievement. So that means they're cutting their dependence on Chinese trade and getting it to Indian trade. That is one. Now, you know MAGA, you know MEGA, and you know MEGA. So I'm not getting into that. Now, after that, there's one more thing which the Americans are talking about. Americans are talking about cooperating with India on the agriculture. There are a lot of techniques in India which are not very agriculture friendly and which are not very agriculture they are giving appropriate results. So America has a lot of patents and America has a lot of things wherein the per hectare yield in America is much higher than per hectare yield in India. So there's going to be immense cooperation on agriculture, right? After that, there's another thing which they are talking about besides agriculture is that, whatever the American advanced technologies are coming or will come, India will have a right in a way to partner with them or choose to give it a miss. That is there. Another aspect which Americans are talking to us is that, besides that, there will be cooperation in the space. Space is going to be industry. Indian space is already 4th biggest in the world. So they are going to cooperate in the space with us. Industrial output enhancement, they are going to cooperate with us on that. It's a very important step. And there is going to be one big time cooperation, which I'm very, very happy. I mean, at times I think God is listening to my heart and getting the things done. It is that cooperation is about energy. Look, America sees India as a $1.2 trillion energy market. And Trump has told Modi ji, look, Modi ji, we are not going to only get into Indian market. We are not going to be only your partners. We want to be your top suppliers in this market because the market is $1.2 trillion. So what has India offered in the contrary? India has done MOUs or got into kind of agreement with American companies wherein $30 billion of LNG, liquefied natural gas and all deals have been signed. India will be investing $10 billion in the American shale gas. Now, this information, I am sure you don't have it, but I have it. So this is the $30 billion. So what are we doing here? We are cutting our dependence from Qatari gas. So after 1 or 2 years, you don't need gas from Qatar. Tel lene jao, fly kite. So we don't need gas from Qatar at all. And we are investing in the money in the shale gas. And America wants to be our number 1 oil supplier. What is the big game plan? There's a big game plan here. Now, the big game plan is after this news went to Russia, Russians are not happy because we are one of their biggest oil buyers. And Trump has plans on Iran, which I can get. It is not written anywhere. It is very much sure because Chinese economy, the good news I have, is already slowing down. It is confirmed as per the data which is out today. Chinese economy is slowing down. The global oil prices have fallen by $5 to $7 a barrel amidst OPEC not cutting the oil. So I'll let Sri sir come in, then I'll explain. This is a big topic, sir.
This is a delicate catwalk for the Modi government to keep both Russia and US happy. I have a feeling something more equitable could be arranged. I'll give you an example, Sumitji. See, not every refinery in India is equipped to deal with shale crude. Only some can do it. So India cannot completely switch its needs from Russia to US. It has to be on a graded basis, and cost benefit analysis and things like that. I have a feeling that it will be graded, but Qatar will be really, really concerned, and I think they'll be kicking themselves for jumping up and down about Nupur Sharma. This reminds me of how Mahathir Mohamad lost his job after shooting his mouth. India said, "We are no longer importing palm oil from you."
Go to hell. Or we are importing that from Indonesia, by the way,
yeah,
which we covered in PGurus. Now, it's a very big game, what I'm going to explain to you. Look, defense F-35 and all, I talked about what are the future cooperation, DT exercises and all. But what is the bigger game here? Look, now what has happened, the OPEC did not, I told you OPEC met and they decided not to bring down the, not to increase the production so that the prices come down. Still, the prices have fallen by $5. Now, I was looking, if OPEC did not bring down prices, how did the prices fall? Now, there are two things Trump did. One, he told OPEC, you have to bring down your prices. OPEC said, we are not doing it. And there's OPEC plus. OPEC plus is Russia. So there's something which has done with us Putin to do. So what is Trump going to do is, because if you're going to do $500 billion of trade only with America, that means your energy needs are going to substantially go up. So what will you need? You will need fossil energy, you will need clean energy, and you will need nuclear energy. Fossil, if you talk of solar panels and all, we're already leading the world there. If you talk of the nuclear energy, there is a clear agreement that US will be supplying us those small and big nuclear reactors, especially the big ones. We are not interested in small ones. The big ones and all the related fuel. All the fuel for the nuclear reactors will come from America. There's an agreement on that. So your energy needs vis-a-vis fossils and nuclear are meant on the solar energy and all that energy. We are already kind of world leaders in that. So there's one arrangement there. Now, what is the bigger game plan? Bigger game plan is Trump has asked to drill everywhere, find oil. Canada has given a special leverage. If you import oil to America, only you will have 10% tariff on that. There the tariff increase, you will not get the additional tariff on that. So Canada has an interest to export oil to America, and there will be no tariff on that. Shale gas, which was shelved by Biden for some time, is increased. Refining capacity of America is getting enhanced, and they are drilling everywhere. Now, game plan is to bring the crude to $67 to $70 maximum. $65 to $70, average should be 67. Because Trump believes at this price, American crude, shale gas and all will make a lot of money. The people in the OPEC, now they better listen to, because the market will shape at this point. Obviously, there's a lot of analytical and data and big data and Hadoop which is being worked in the back end. That's where the number comes. At this price, the Islamic world, I don't give a damn, I call them, the Islamic oil producers will be at a point, if they want to become this OPEC, what Bhutto told them, this dance and the jugglery with oil, they will lose their market shares permanently. It's exactly what happened to Saudi. When the Russian oil came, Saudi was told, you mend your ways, otherwise you will lose your market share. India is the third biggest importer of oil, and Trump is eyeing India now. If Trump gets the lion's share from India, who gets the hit? Which are going to get the hit is the Islamic bloc. I can be very candid and direct. They are going to get the hit. It's not because if Trump can bring us a crude at $67 a barrel, they can give you the nuclear energy and they can give you a short supplies with contracts for 5 years. No price hike. Makes sense. And then OPEC will not be at a position to juggle. And because in OPEC plus, you're already Russia who will keep on buying. So it will be American, it will be Russian, it will be Venezuelan. And if these people come at 67, 68, makes sense. They want to play their own games. They can sell to anybody whom they want in the world. Let them all go and sell to China. We don't give a shit. That is where the game is going to be played. So oil and LNG and natural gas are going to be big things which are happening in this world. And $1.2 trillion is a big market. For that, we have also spoken to them that we need some advanced refineries and those, refinery equipment and all. That will be made available to India at a priority. What Sri sir made a valid point, we don't have the capacity everywhere to refine shale gas. But now with this, after this agreement, there'll be a lot of capacity, a lot of equipment and all, which Americans will make us go and, kind of work on that. So this is where the oil game is being played. And if you look at the prices of if you look at the data coming from our stock exchange in the last 2-3 days, our companies are moreover happy. And there'll be one more thing which will be happening, which you don't realize. You see, this Manmohan Singh's burden will be over. Now, Manmohan Singh had signed these oil bonds, which Modi ji was paying kist every mahina and every month for his bonds which he had signed. Now that thing is almost getting over. It's already over by now. So now these oil companies and all, which have been really, sulking, and which have been really, just managing to be afloat with government help, one, they will get a breath of fresh air. And let me tell you what is going to happen next. This is my prediction, guys. Note the date and time. Date is 15th February. 15th February है ना आज? 15th February, 10:23 PGurus channel, 2025. Once this arrangement is done, there will be GST on petroleum. So your petroleum will cost you 20 to 25 rupees less, because fundamentally Modi government is working to bring the cost down, not to give its own money and right. Fundamentally the cost will come down. Your input costs come down. You will not have to pay for oil bonds. That will be the time to get GST into the picture and pass around 20 rupees or more to the end consumer. Imagine the kind of political storm it will create. Imagine the amount of productivity which will be able to give in. Imagine the out of productivity. By that time, remember, I told you we'll have nuclear energy in place. We'll have these production enhancement techniques place in the industry. We'll have these farming enhancement techniques in place. Imagine the boost it can get to the economy, right? And how we'll be able to be more competitive. We might be somewhere even coming near to the Chinese prices of production. And by the time, the good news I have with you, which I was keeping with me, but I wanted to talk to you about this GST thing. So how we are going to, what is the bigger plan to be? Now, another thing is that Chinese industrial output has fallen. Chinese economy is showing a slowdown. That is why I love to break this news to be amidst OPEC not producing more of the oil. The prices have fallen by $5 to $7 a barrel, because the need from China is getting down. So which is a very good, that means what are sanctions and all are being placed. Everything is working. People were arguing, how will the sanctions work? Look, if sanctions are not working, why is Chinese economy slowing down? Why their oil imports and all have fallen? Because China is the biggest buyer of the oil. So they are not buying so much of oil now. There is a very clear-cut indication that the Chinese industrial output is falling, and China is not also importing so much of coal. I'm just waiting for the numbers to get a confirmation on. Maybe tomorrow morning I'll get a confirmation. China is not buying so much of coal as well. So this is the bigger plan. This is where Modi Sarkar is thinking. Why does Trump say Modi is a bigger negotiator than me? Why does he say, I miss you? Well, good to see you back. Why didn't Trump say that? Because you know the capability of the man, and I agree with ISR when he's saying that they had all got planned. They knew what exactly they were doing. They exactly had their cards placed, and these are the major 2 or 3. Then, of course, healthcare, then vaccination. Those are, run-of-the-mill things that are happening. Cloth, there's going to be a substantial focus on cloth. There's going to be a substantial, and of course, we don't know. There's no official information on this semiconductor, how the semiconductor thing is shaping up. But I am very sure when the new semiconductor policy of America will be kind of announced, India will not be in those restricted 20 countries. It will be like on those countries where they're going to free flow. And I want this really to go for 2 hours, but I cannot, because there's a lot of tar mein se tar. There's a knot to knot to knot to knot. Now, here it is happening. Now, what is happening? With all this happening, there was one more important achievement. Now in this note of things, 23 minutes. Okay, in this note of things, she said, I'm just today contemplating what to bring, what to leave. So I'm in this continuous paradigm. But anyway, let me get my focus back. Now, in this note of things, there's one thing very important which has happened is that, look, delinking of supply chains was a concept. But after we give it a number, it's happening, friends. 500 billion will not come if you don't stop buying from China. Because Trump doesn't want to increase imports, but he wants to increase exports. So if the imports came, and I want your market share to come from 100 to 400 billion, where is the 400 billion going to come from? It's going to come from China. So that's number one. So Chinese Communist Party is rattled. They don't know what to do. Another news I have from you. Today, after Modi-Trump meeting, you know what has Mexico done, sir? Mexico has moved its border guards to the Mexican border. It's not now the only American army in a way. Now the Mexican army is also protecting the Mexican side of the border. So drug cartels and this fentanyl movement is going to get reduced. Canada will have no option. It's a matter of time. Canada has to move its cavalry and army to the American border and to make sure no illegals or no drugs and fentanyl enters America. That's a very important development. That is what is happening. Because what are they fearing about? They are fearing about 4 or 5 years down the line, they may miss the boat completely. Because if India comes up with this industry and these alternates, which India is going to come up, after 4 or 5 years, after getting this $500 billion number, they are really shaking. Their heads are going bazooka. They don't know what to do now. Because they know it is going to come from somewhere. $500 billion is not, Americans are not going to consume $500 billion more, no. So, and they're not going to import $500 billion more, it's going to come from somewhere. So that is what is shaking their heads, that if we lose this opportunity is permanently gone. Now, so it's a very important point about Mexico and Canada. Now, even now, it is Gulf of America, there's no longer Gulf of Mexico. That Americans are already making those profiles of the various drug cartels, drug lords and all. So it's a matter of time, we'll see a lot of action there. Now, let me touch briefly upon Pakistan, China, Bangladesh, then I'll come back to the geopolitical shifts. Now, what are the risks? Let me tell you a couple of risks here. The risks are Russians will be a bit apprehensive now. Because ultimately, if you're moving, and Trump has said we're going to do multiple types of this trade with India. So that means that quantum of trade with India with weapons is going to increase. Not only weapons, a full-fledged 360-degree cooperation, which will also mean somewhere down the line that India will be one of the most strategic military non-NATO ally of America. And will NATO survive or not? That is again highly debatable. I don't think NATO is surviving because that the turf war between Americans and Europeans has reached a peak. It has already peaked up. So NATO is already getting into jeopardy. And America does not see a lot of hope in NATO now and doesn't see a lot of hope in Europe now. That is another problem for Europeans. But that is a topic for some other day. We're not going to get into that because we'll lose another 15 minutes talking about that as to why and how. Now, let me talk about Pakistan. I think Pakistan did not even figure out in the discussion officially what we know. It must have come up. And Pakistan, the impression America is giving, Pakistan does not matter. Pakistan is not important. Pakistan is a used sanitary napkin, if I may say that. So there's no use of Pakistan, and Pakistan is really rattled. Pakistan doesn't count. Pakistan is filthy. Pakistan is garbage. That is the impression. Pakistan doesn't even come out in the discussion officially between India and America. So Pakistani is, you all had one dream. One is 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗧. Second dream you had that you have a strategic relevance when it comes to India. Now this strategic relevance, first Prime Minister Modi dismantled, then Prime Minister Modi dismantled, then which was dismantled by Donald Trump. So you are not relevant. Second thing we have to talk about is Bangladesh. Now, Bangladesh, the clear mandate is US deep state is not going to intervene, right? US deep state is not going to intervene. It is up to Prime Minister Modi to handle Bangladesh. So that question of Christian Rashtra, which is being cut out, and Donald Duke and all that, it's not happening. It's Modi ji's call how he's going to handle Bangladesh. Americans are not going to interfere. And friends, if you remember, once the Manipur government when Birren Singh ji resigned, I told you that day, I think it was on Bharat, which I did a program. I told you, look, there is a possibility that a president's rule might be imposed in Manipur, because if you want to do some major changes, you have to impose president's rule. It cannot be done with one chief minister going and another chief minister coming. Now you see that prediction also came true. President's rule got imposed in Manipur, because in Manipur, if you have to flush out anybody, that is China. And of course, ISI. So China is the people who have to get out of there. And if you talk of Bangladesh, who are the people you have to flush out from there? It is China and it is ISI you have to flush out from Bangladesh. So you have two fronts here. Here you have Manipur, where the government of India has already taken a decisive action, and we'll very soon see action happening vis-a-vis Bangladesh, where you have to get rid of China and ISI. And regarding China, China is already ganging up. China is preparing a multi-front war scenario for India. Chinese economy cannot handle this $500 billion loss. China is crumbling under its economic pressure, and anyway, in end game, China will talk more about it. Now, these are the kind of the things. Now, Maldives doesn't count. Nepal is a bit of a problem, but we will handle Nepal. And Sri Lanka again, because you squeeze China's economy, China will not have money to splurge around here and there. So that is the good thing about it. And India will get a lot of enhanced technology transfers and a lot of future technology partnerships with America, which was not happening before. Now after that, we come up with the geo-tactical shifts. What are the geo-tactical shifts? So dangers. One, Russia is a bit apprehensive. Our relations with Middle East are going to get into a tricky phase, because Middle East is now realizing that India, America, and Israel are the best buddies. I'll be direct and honest. We have dumped Iran. Thank you, Modi ji. Love you for that. We have dumped Iran. We don't need Iran anymore. And as far as and this talk of FTA, which is a talk, no confirmation. If this talk of FTA is true, we can even hope this trade to go much higher. Now, Israelis are really asking us, once this settles, can we do FTA with you? In the long run, UAE will not be as a big potential buyer and partner for India. That's a matter of time. In 5 years, everything within UAE will change. Take my prediction with date and time today. It's going to change. So new paradigms have shaped up. And with all this happening, there's one more important paradigm which my editor reminded me. I have to talk about it. Because this topic is so big, and unfortunately I could not come yesterday or whatever. Now, is Ukraine. Now, Ukraine is feeling the heat. Zelensky is trying to now create a divide between America and Europe, which will destroy Europe, which will dismantle Europe. Zelensky is going and talking to Europeans in the Munich conference. Look, Europe has to come up with its own army. You have to build your own army, because you cannot trust America. What do you mean you cannot trust America? Technically, you're all part of NATO. So that means, is Zelensky now suggesting to the Europeans that you cannot trust NATO? And Trump says you are not paying the bills. Why should I give you the protection? And you have a trade surplus with China and a trade deficit with me. Why should I be interested in the things? Now look at what did Vance say. Vance was going blastic in Munich. He said, look, you people are trying to censor people. You people are trying to muzzle the voices. You people are trying to think that democracies are so weak that you spend few $1,000s on social media, you can change the opinions. Well, that is not going to happen. Your people are really caught in your own paradigms. You are caught in your small interests. He did not say that, but if you go through the complete transcript, this is what he means. I've been always telling you that when you talk for European Union, it might look like a big, hefty mass. But within that unit, every country has its own paradigms. Every country is looking to its own interests. And he said, look, this is what you are looking at. And Zelensky is saying, no, Americans cannot protect us. America is not interested in the European Union. And after my conversation with Donald Trump, he did not even mention once, why do I need European Union? And why is European Union important to America? And it's as simple for Trump. If you're giving me trade, if you're giving me business, and if you're giving me money for protection, I'll protect you. No trade, no business, no money for protection, go to hell. I don't need you. It's as simple as that. America is not interested in you. And if you're keeping on using those censorships and all, and in your European Union, if you have this pro-Palestine and anti-American sentiments and things going on, I'm not willing to talk to you. You go and be the best buddies of Hamas. Now, another thing which has been very important, which has come up in this discussion, is that, Trump has said, Vance has said, especially not Trump, that in Germany, for example, the far right-wing party, which is rated number 2 in the election process, or the kind of exit polls, or the kind of opinion.
AFD.
So AFD, which is rated now he said, why their voices are being muzzled? Why that opinion is you're not letting to come in? Have you become some small communist regimes which are muzzling voices and letting no contradictory opinions to come in? Now, Olaf reacted to that. He said, no, you are interfering in our elections, and this Germany will not tolerate. Germany is a sovereign country. But, and again, he says, and then says, no, it's not what it is kind of going to happen, and we are not very happy with it and all that. But so there's a clear division there. Now, Ukraine, Zelensky goes one step ahead. Why can't we get together and build something like NATO of Europe? First of all, I want to ask Zelensky, who put you in the Europe? You're not part of European Union. You might be geographically in Europe, but you have nothing to do with the European Union. Where are you getting your arms and legs into that? And then Zelensky goes ahead and warns. He says, if Trump and Putin agree on anything, wherein Ukrainians and Ukrainian people are not considered, their interests are not taken, I am in a way warning it won't happen on the ground. So here the tectonic shift is now Zelensky is trying to threaten Trump that if you cut a deal with the Putin, I may not let it happen on the ground. So has Zelensky shortened his lifeline? Possibly yes. Now Zelensky also brought in that we are ready to do a $500 billion deal of rare earths with America. But that is going to happen anyway, Zelensky, without you. Why do you bother so much? It's not you own Ukraine. It's not your grandfather wrote it on a will to you. You don't own Ukraine. Somebody else will again sign a deal, maybe a bigger deal. Why do you think you only can sign the deal? I wanted to ask him through PGurus. Why do you only think you can only sign the deal? You are nobody special. Another thing is that Zelensky is trying to get Ukrainian people around it, right? Ukrainian people around it, and he's also trying to get the European people support. That there's some voices in Europe which have started saying no, Ukrainians must be consulted, territorial sovereignties must be adhered to, because the buzzword is that Russia is not going to even leave an inch of land which has captured. Even Russian troops have captured for some of the more villages of Ukraine today. So it's a rift building between now Olaf and the Hungarians and a few other countries have backed up Zelensky in a way on this. Now you cannot decide the fate of Europe or European countries without it. And now here Zelensky is riding on the horse cloud 9, and he has thought, down, let's bring up a unified European army, wherein this will be a unified European army. This will fight for the Europe and the interests of Europe, and and let's have a unified kind of a foreign policy and things like that. So this man is very willing to get the Europe down, but I think Europeans will prevail. So for Europe, there are 2 or 3 things. First of all, the trade balance with the US has to be squared off, and Europe is also worried on one thing. Look, Modi ji went to France. There are a lot of things on the pipeline. Scorpion electric submarines is biting the hand which fed him. Of course, that is what comedians do. Now, the Scorpion diesel submarines, they were talking of these Rafale maritime versions. We were talking of SRFs. There were a lot of things which I talked to you on PGurus. What was on the charter? Now, anything has not been finalized. So basically, France is feeling the pinch. Some $10-20 billion of deals might go to America. I mean, I had a kit of 20. Maybe I get 5 or 7 or 10. 10 might go to Americans. So there's a competition which has started between the French and Americans who will sell more to India. Another thing is that, you see, there is one underlying message very, very clear here. India is willing to do business with me. Indian economy is growing at 7%. This is the fastest growing, biggest economy in the world. And if the growth continues, even $1 trillion of trade is not a big deal in 10 years down the line to achieve, 7 years down the line to achieve. So what does that mean? Do the mathematics. If I have to do that trade, who are the 2 people or the masses of the people which will be biggest hit? One will be China, second will be European Union. So there is a problem in the European Union that if you don't square off your trade with America, there might be a possibility that, you might not have a trade with America at all. So the challenge is, if you don't have a trade with America, where are you going to sell? With your aging population, with your high cost of living and manufacturing, and you don't have any great technological advances. Your governments are weak, your economies are growing at 1 to 2%, and your foreign exchange reserves are not great. You have high mounting debts. With that, who is the savior of the European Union? Now, European Union is also seeing that the business from, India, which was supposed to come to Europe, might go to America, and the trade which is happening between Europe and America might move between India and America again. So they are seeing a big paradigm shift and a geopolitical shifts or geo-tactical shifts, I may call them, what is happening there. So they are really worried how the things are moving, and they again know that there's a window. Look, when Russian oil came to India, I was on a TV channel. I said, Saudis, either you do it now, otherwise you lose your share permanently. It has been 2-3 years. Did Saudis get their share back? No, they never got their share back. Can they get their share back? They cannot get their share back. And imagine if the manufacturing comes up in India and you're able to get India the fuel it needs, get India the coal it needs, get India the nuclear energy it needs, get India big time reactors which are about those 10,000 megawatts or 1,000 megawatts, and get those SRMs to India and clear its supply into an energy with technology transfers and participation in the futuristic technologies. India can be the factory of the world. Democratic India can be the factory of the world, and the trade can reach to any levels. And what, the world's largest democracy and the world's oldest democracy coming together and forming alliances is very good. And when it comes to Modi ji and Trump, both are nationalists. They're absolute nationalists. And I don't think these fifth generation Indians and all, I think they're all as settled. When you are agreed to give the F-35, it's all done. And let me tell you, after the bombardment of the Yemen harbors by Israel, wherein 100 F-35s went and did it, few thousand kilometers down the line, they came back unharmed without a scratch. None of the radars of the Arabic world, none of the Iranian radars, none of the radars or AWACS of Chinese spy satellites, anybody could not see them. So the relevance of F-35 as the most ardent battle machine was here, now it is here. And if Trump is ready to offer you the F-35, it's a very clear message. Arey bhai, I am giving you the F-35. Forget those engines and those Vipers and those blades. They will anyway come. That's not a big deal. If I'm giving you the most potent machine, you take this. So the military cooperation is all-time high, and people-to-people connects. I have to bring this up to you. Look, there are 4 million, 40 lakh of our Indian origin brothers and sisters who live in America. And I'm going to share an interesting number with you, which you'll be zapped to know. There are 700,000, 7 lakh Americans who live in India today. 7 lakh. If 40 lakh live there, 7 lakh live today. And America has given I think 1 or 1.6 million visas last year. Now the visas which will be given to people will be doubled or tripled. That is on the radar. And there will be also a category introduced of a preferential visa. That means certain categories of people and certain countries will get preferential visa. Let's say there's a queue of 1 month. I want to go to America and my American visa is expired. I want to go to America and there's something, I come in that preferential category or something. Then I'll get my visa as God good in 2 or 3 days. So that preferential visa processing category is also kind of increased. And let me share you another piece of data with you. We Indians who send our kids to America to study, we are giving $5 billion to the American universities. $5 billion is not a chota paisa. $5 billion is a big amount. So, this cooperation on the students, work permits, visas, traveling, this all is going to get a new kind of makeover. And illegals, we are going to handle them. Illegals is a mutual problem. And the best thing what I liked about the illegals is when Trump and Modi ji agree that we have to crack down on the rackets. That is the thing. It's not only about chaining people and sending them home. It's about cracking down all those rackets, because rackets operate from America, they operate from Canada, they operate from Middle East, they operate from everywhere. So these organized rackets are the mafias which are facilitating this immigration, which are facilitating this illegals by minting money from them. The poor people send their land and all, they go there. So we have to crack down all those rackets and all those. That's what we are going to do. Right. I think so. This is what it looks to be doing. And 5 billion. Okay. So one is that on these we are going to crack down on these rackets so that this illegal immigration stops. And I talked about the space, and there is one more cooperation which is going to happen on that. Agriculture I have spoken on, space I have spoken on, and there was some talk of even cooperation on the dairy industry. There's a cooperation on the dairy industries which is being talked about, and there is also a talk. There were some Indian dairy products which were not allowed in America due to whatever. So in due course of time, those things might also ease out. And for some of you, I have one heartbreaking news for you. A lot of people used to ask me that the Indian meat export industry works on Middle East only. Middle East is the biggest buyer. Well, wait for a few days. There will be no dependence on Middle East. You know why? Some other markets are opening up. Bahut kuch ho raha. So, and and my gut feel is that somewhere down the line, I will one day know. I have no idea on this. I have no information, but my dil kehta hai. One day I'll come to know that India is no longer the beef exporter. We may not export beef at all. So things are shaping up. That's why I'm talking about geo-tactical shifts in the geopolitics are happening. And this is what has been broadly happening. Sri, you have a point, and I'll continue and end it.
Sumiji, the 5 billion revenue for the United States universities from India sounds a little bit on the lower side. You know why? The number that is given is 300,000 students are studying in the United States universities. Maybe 100 of them will get assistantships, whether it is a research assistantship or a teaching assistantship. So you can still keep it as 300,000. The average cost per year tuition for foreign-based students is around $50,000. You multiply 300,000 by 50,000, you get $15 billion.
That you're right, sir. That might be only for the people who are going for higher education and all. There might be some classification within it, but
no, Sirji, any education, undergraduate also is 50,000. So it may, okay, so that may be the higher end, 5,000 may be the lower end. I think it may be somewhere in middle, maybe 10 to 11 billion is probably the number.
But the point we are trying to make, it's in billions already. It's already in billions of dollars. So, and let me also bring on one point which people have forgotten. Now, you see Tata placing an order of 500 jahaz, SpiceJet another 100, then another 250, then another 20 in the recent I think there was some air show in America, they went and placed another 20. Now, if you look at even the aeroplane orders which are from Bharat, which are on Bharat, on America, is around, I think, 750 or more planes which we have already ordered. We'll be very soon touching 1,000 planes. Now, 1,000 planes are creating millions of jobs. 1,000 planes are creating millions of jobs in America. And Indian aviation market is supposed to grow at a CAGR of 20 to 25%. It's the fastest growing domestic airline market in the world. We are already number 3rd or 4th airline market, but the CAGR is highest in the world. So if you look at that heavy industry of America, right, India is going to be the biggest market, is going to be the market with the Indian aviation industry going. Then when the aviation industry goes, those radars, those ATCs, well, there's a lot of equipment which comes with those. That is also going to grow. So there's going to be a strategic cooperation about those. So don't be surprised. One day you might see a lot of those manufacturing, a lot of those parts or some part of the manufacturing coming to India. That is also a remote possibility. We don't have that because nobody has placed so many orders on the American aviation industry as we are placing. So it's not only defense aviation, it's also the civil aviation. Civil aviation orders are bigger than the defense aviation orders as on date. That is the point I'm trying to make. So बहुत कुछ हो रहा है, बहुत कुछ has been achieved, and slowly we have to wait for the official confirmations to come from here or there. Then we'll be able to decode it more for you. But this is what I could put together in around 50 minutes, which I gave myself. There was a lot I wanted to talk about more, but this is what I could precisely put around 50 minutes, and I could relate how they are. The major risks are, relations with Middle East will see a bit of a turbulence. Relations with Russia will see a bit of turbulence. Now, another thing is that European Union now sees India as a competitor, which was not the case 1 week back. European Union, China is seeing us as a competitor, that is for sure. China is feeling the pinch of now India's strength. China is getting hit by India's strength. Bangladesh is gone. Yunus has to be hiding under his chair and his table. Muzu is not a problem. And again, these Sri Lankans that have fallen in place. Bhutan was never a problem. Nepal, there's some work which has needed to be done, definitely, which we have to work out. And but with these things escalating, China trying to do something vis-a-vis India, the chance increases. Pakistan breaking more often the ceasefire and getting Punjab involved. Take my point. Getting Punjab side of the border involved becomes a very high chance now. Jammu they will not get, they will get Punjab this time. And there are political reasons for it as well. So Punjab getting involved, there's a very, very high chance for that. And they might even try something tricky with us. Or worst case, the HPMV numbers might start cropping up. We don't know. Let's wait and watch how do the things shape up. We'll be meeting you tomorrow and that's Endgame China. We'll talk about a lot of more things. So there are a lot of things which are happening. And these are some of the things which are kind of shaping the world. Bangladesh, bhul gaya, 𝗟𝗡𝗙𝗧. Bangladesh is we have to cut a Hindu desh there, like a Bhutan, and it will be like a union territory, give them protection and all. And that's what we are interested in. Besides that, we have nothing to do in Bangladesh. Bangladesh is gone. And let me tell you, Bangladesh cannot be repaired now. Another 3-4 months, Bangladesh has gone beyond repair.
Can you see this?
You have to yeah,
दिखाई दे
Hindu
रहा है?
Desh.
Hindu Desh. So this is available now for sale for United States citizens. I mean, people living in United States. It will be available on the website as well as on the app. So you can order this. We are trying to sell this thing in these kind of pouches, and we'll be able to sell them in lots of 5. And we are just trying to cover the shipping costs. It's a very, very low price. We just want you to wear this thing proudly and explain why everybody is wearing this, because now the path has been laid. The one big obstacle has been removed. China will not interfere at this point of time to try and do whatever. India can clean up Bangladesh. My personal request or wish is to break Bangladesh into 4 or 5 parts, and 2 of them should be significant Hindu population. You can even, so what, and with a plan to do land exchange within these 5 countries. So you will have eventually 2 Hindu desh, which will be like majority. The Chittagong area is 20% Hindu. So that Chattogram, that Feni River cut, that could be 1 Hindu desh. See, these are all small lands. It's not like big land. But there, but where what you do is, okay, you don't want to be here. You give up your land for somebody Hindu who might be somewhere inside Bangladesh, may want to move there. That way, everything becomes smooth. People don't keep killing each other. And the Rajshahi area, that is definitely another area that I think in near Dhaka also there may be one more small piece that might have a Hindu majority. This needs to be done. There is no other alternative.
Green light, yes, sir. That's why I'm wearing green. You are also wearing green today.
Yes.
Green light mil gaya na. No deep state will interfere. No Victoria Newland. No Donald Liu. Green light mil gaya. Ab karo kya karna hai? And one more point I wanted to make about this is now
the guy who has replaced Donald Liu is a Paul something, Hindu guy. Paul something. So it's not going to be easy. कितना भी मार लो, कितना भी चढ़ाकर ये करो वो करो, all these Jamaat guys आ रही है.
और एक और बात सी सर, now this chicken neck problem will be settled for good. There will be nothing.
That's why I said Rajshahi will be Paul Kapoor. Thank you so much.
Wow, kudos. There will be nothing called chicken neck now. Chicken neck gaya. No chicken, no neck. Huh? And one last thing I wanted to make out is that with all these things happening, I think the people who have to really watch out are 2, if I can conclude. Middle East has to really mend its ways and forget this OPEC, band karo ye, OIC, band karo. Stop this crap. Don't go to Riyadh and publish that photo. That irks people. And I've been making sure I will bring this point in as many platforms as I can. This irks people. This unity which you're trying to show in Islamic unity irks people. It's not sustainable. You need dollar to sustain. You don't have the money. Second thing is which has to really mend its ways is the European Union. You can't be running with the hare and hunting with the hounds. You have to decide which way you want to go. So if you both can still realize where this things are, where it should happen, it should happen. Otherwise, there will be a day we'll be sulking and crying about India has taken the lead and Modi has done something which nobody could think of. Then that is destiny. We told you well in advance it's going to happen, but don't crib and cry there. It is going to happen. It's up to you. If you don't get your house in order, don't blame the others. Evolution is constant. And if still some people think that the sun never sets in the British Empire, well, dreams are free. Illusions are penniless. By the way, Trump has asked the US Mint stop printing stop making pennies, are too expensive. So if you people still want to believe that, you're be the Alice of the Alice in the Wonderland. But the 2 continents which are going to face a brunt of it is Europe and Middle East. You have to really come up. I think if from Middle East, if you take away oil, sir, it's all gone. Kya hai tel ke baad? There's nothing about beyond oil. It starts from oil, it ends from oil. European Union still has a lot of things to offer. But when it comes to Middle East, it's oil and the sand. Nobody buys sand. People still buy oil. So if oil is gone, unless and until you can say the sand is made of gold and people would want to buy it, I don't know. That's how it looks like.
Thank you so much, Sumit ji. We have a lot of questions today. Let's try to keep the answers to 20 seconds or less. Very, very sharp and cut. And if there is anything that's already been answered, we'll just skip those questions. Let's go.
I was hoping this interaction to be for 2 hours, but nahi. Okay, anyway.
Magnet Ranga wants to know, Namaste, Trump's plans are definitely only for 4 years. Can good strategies be made permanent? Also, is it end of road for Democrats with investigations on corruption using USAID, etc.?
Sir, I will want to take you back to what Mr. Iyer told us one day. He told us that Democrats will at least come for, Republicans will at least come for 8 years. And I'm waiting, I'm watching JD Vance. JD Vance is more aggressive than Donald Trump. Take my word in writing today. I watch his body language, I listen to him. He's more aggressive than Trump. So if Democrats are there for 8 years, we don't have to look for a 4-year window. We have to look for an 8-year window. In 4 years, we can cross 6 trillion. We'll have displaced a lot of paradigms in the world. There will be some permanent geo-tactical or geopolitical changes which would have happened. Another 4 years, we cross 10 trillion. Then you are insured. Nobody can touch you.
Vijay Kumar Srivastava wants to know, Sumit sir, do you think an imposter of deep state intentionally questions about Adani in that press conference?
Of course, deep state is as deep as you can't think, sir. They have penetrated everything and everywhere. And I hate to say this, even they have members in India, and some of them are very prominent people. Prominent people of India. And very prominent, rich and famous people of India are their buddies. So you are not fighting some chota mota people. They are not jihadis with the Kalashnikov. They are 1,000 times dangerous than them.
Next one, please. Thank you, Peter, for your super sticker. Mukesh Parekh wants to know, Sumitji, this time Modi ji and Trump chemistry is not like previous time. Maybe Bangladesh and Pakistan regarding more benefit, but for business prospects. I don't know what he's trying to say.
I can get broadly what Mukesh is trying to say. Mukesh ji, there are a lot of things which have happened. There are a lot of things which will come up in due course of time. And I've been trying to scramble through a lot of things and a lot of people to get you the information which I gave you today. And what thing I can tell you, it is no longer about chemistry with Trump and Modi. Remember the thing which everybody missed. I don't know why did they miss. They said radical Islamic terror is the most pertinent danger to America, India, and for the whole world. And we are going to have a cooperation of unbelievable proportion to counter and dismantle this. What do you get out from this statement? Now, chemistry is there. It's like, if every time you meet your friend, you don't have to hug and kiss. Maybe you meet first time, you do hug and kiss and all. But after that, it's back to business. And business is happening more and at a higher proportion than ever before.
Next one, please. Shankar VK wants to know, Sriji, Sumitji, what are your views on Arab nations rejecting the Gaza resettlement plan and openly mentioning Chinese support for their side?
That's why I explained you the $67 barrel crude. If they can still afford to do it, and if they can sell sand, not the crude, let them try that. I would love them to try that. Try selling sand. Sir, game over. Sirji, game over. They don't have too many options. That's why I took this time to explain you this. China, Xi Jinping will make Chinese go on bicycles and eat opium again. That is what he will end up China as.
Viewers, tomorrow in China's discussion, Sumitji, I am thinking I will also talk about 2-3 minutes about how USSR disintegrated economically. Not a bullet was fired. How it economically disintegrated, because what happened in USSR in the late 80s, culminating in the withdrawal of the USSR troops from Afghanistan, something very similar is going to happen to China. And I will give you the scenario. It might not happen exactly like what I think, but it will be something very close to that.
Okay. Yeah. And by the way, there is Trump and Modi ji have a consensus on a plan on Afghanistan also. So our good friend, not friend, I don't know what to call him, that joker, Abachi went to meet Taliban, which we highlighted. So Trump and Modi ji have agreed on something on Taliban also. So if Iran thinks they can craft a way into Pakistan to Iran, that's not going to happen. And Chinese support is the last thing these people should have tried. Don't get China involved. It only complicates things. Don't get Trump and China involved. It only complicates things.
Mahesh Pattabhiraman wants to know, if Trump keeps up this style of governance, I'll be totally rooting for Trump's third term constitution amendment. Also hope India-Russia friendship also continues.
It will. In fact, after there was a beautiful article yesterday in one of our media publications. He said after Ukraine being pushed under the bus, India, Russia, and America breathing easy. And this is exactly what I told you one day back. Did I
Right,
tell
right.
you? I said this is good news for us, because we Russians and Americans, we want to breathe easy. None of us like China, and Ukraine is a baggage which we are all carrying for nothing. Why should we carry Zelensky's ego? And I wonder at this man. Do you think you own the Ukraine? Do you think you will not cut the deal? Nobody else will. There will be somebody else who will come and cut the deal, Zelensky. Why do you think you're so important? You're not MBS.
Next one, please. Thank you, Mahesh Pattabhiraman, for gifting 5 PGurus memberships. Really, really appreciate your gesture. Thank you so much, Faith Base. Thank you, Muthukumar Sundaram, for your super sticker. Thank you, Ashok TV, for becoming YouTube member. Kamal Mongaji wants to know, how will Bangladesh problem be solved? How will Bharat act? Thanks.
Sir, Hindu desh to banana padega na. We have to create a land for Hindus, and we have to make sure that the Jadi terror does not infiltrate us. Whatever we have to do in our national interest, we'll do. I mean, the only elephant in the room there is China. And let me be as straight as candid as that. In Manipur, you are fighting China. In Bangladesh, you'll fight China and ISI. That's as simple as it can get.
Next one, please. Faith Base wants to know, hi to both of you, my favorite, sir. I have a question to Sriji. President Trump firing millions nowadays. What is the objective of getting out of this if millions of Americans are without job? See, what happened was many were arbitrarily hired to implement things like DEI without a care for the economic impact on the country. The Biden administration had a set agenda that somehow they'll win this election, and then after that, this is a deep state agenda. Biden was not in full senses of what he was trying to do. At least in the last 24 months, I don't think he was. And they were hoping to get another same kind of a person who just keeps signing whatever they want. And all that has now been turned on its head. Now, how do you stop this from happening again? So this kind of a catharsis is a necessity. It is painful, but other jobs will get created. For example, the oil production in America will go up, and there will be other jobs. These things have create a ripple effect where the things will start creating more jobs. You just have to give time, and I think they will also lower the interest rates in America. That will spur growth. Many things are in the pipeline. You have to shake this thing up. 2.22 million people are employed in the US government. That's one of the highest percentages that I've ever seen working in the government. Very, very high number. The average salary is close to $100,000. The average age is 47 years. So a lot of things are going to change. So I think it's a small time pain for a long-term gain. Next one, please. Muthukumar Sundaram says, PGurus, now will America become reliable partner in their deals with Bharat, unlike earlier times? Muthukumar ji, we have to look at it this way. These are all not, friends or enemies. Interest is what that happens. Who benefits from what? And we have already told you the math. If India starts importing crude and natural gas from US and basically stops getting it from Qatar, Qatar is the loser, and they should have watched their tongue before they.
And they should mind their head.
Yeah. So why did you do that? And where is this Zubair Mian? I don't know why he's still not in jail, Sumit ji.
Jayega. So sabka number aayega. There are bigger things to settle. These
12 people lost their lives because of him.
Yeah, these all, there's one more guy who's running now. He's just absconded. Assam police reaches his and there's nobody in his place. He's saying, I'm not running, I'm scared. And then you should be scared while watching your tongue. Now you think, and you know why people have come after that man? Because he has betrayed people. He has projected something to be else than what he was. I was on another show. Somebody asked me a question. Is he a Ravan? Man ka nahi. Ravan was a very literate Shiv Bhakt and a very Vidwan admi. He's Kalnemi. Don't call him Ravan. Don't insult Ravan. Kapati Kalnemi. Maharich. Kalnemi. That's what we should call him.
Liven lately wants to know, Russia was willing for technology transfer. Will US be doing that as well for both F-35 and small nuclear reactors?
Sir, that is the basic of the game. We will do, and when we have this position, we'll be able to squeeze something better from Russia, something more higher from France. See, Modi ji is a vyapari. He knows how to get out. You have three options today from some Russia, France, and all. And there was another thing which I forgot to tell you, and I don't know how did our media outlets miss it. They said that we are going to the IMAC. IMAC Modi, Trump said that this is going to be the most powerful and most biggest trade route created in the world. So it's a direct counter to BRI. Now, IMAC, which India proposed in the G20, is endorsed by Trump today. He said this will be the most potential and powerful trade route of the world. And that is directly confronting BRI and OBR. So,
viewers, you should go back and look at Major General Rajiv Narayan's talk, because where he says about the Ben Gurion Canal, and that Ben Gurion Canal is going to be very parallel to the border with Egypt. And this canal connects between Mediterranean Sea and the Indian Ocean. And if that gets finished, guess what? On one side of this is the new city of Saudi Arabia, Neom. On the other side, it's Mediterranean, and all the oil deposits of Israel are in and around that area. And this would be the perfect corridor for India, because India would not need to go through land at all to go to Europe. So it's maybe there'll be a hiccup or two, but the Arab nations will come around to the view that what Trump is proposing is the best thing. Of course, the Suez Canal will lose its importance. And what can you do? I mean, you have a good thing going and you ruin it. What can we do?
What can we do?
Yeah. Yeah, this is done. Next one, please. Cosmic Reason wants to know, is nuclear energy safe given war is left, right, top, down around India in the coming future?
Look, nuclear energy is the cheapest energy unit which you produce. Nuclear
It's also
energy
the
is
safest. Yeah.
cheapest and the safest. If you look at the history of nuclear plants, they're pretty safe. France produces around 22 to 27% of the energy from nuclear, and there has not been an incident. But look, my brother or sister, I don't know, I can't grasp the name, how much of energy requirements you have. If you want to really take your economy to $10 trillion or 20 or 35, what the roadmap is, your energy needs have to be coming from somewhere. You can't be depending on fossil fuels and coal and thermal power. How much of thermal power can you produce at the end of the day? You have to eventually move to green energy, that is solar and all, and clean energy. Clean energy will be nuclear and things like that. Nuclear energy was supposed to be that. It's the man who made a bomb out of it. It was not supposed to be made a bomb. It was supposed to help people. But ultimately, we kind of, with our distorted minds, we made the dirtiest bombs out of it. But it was not supposed to be for bombs. So there's nothing wrong in that.
Coal-based power generation is really, really bad. Sumitji, I don't know how your experience in China has been. Last time I went to China was about 20, 25 years ago, 22, 23 years ago. And that time, the way it used to be was you flew into Hong Kong, you took a visa to go to mainland China, then you took a bus and you went, and at Shenzhen, there's a crossing. You cross into China. China, they drive on the right side of the road. In Hong Kong, they drive on the left side of the road. So you get out of one bus, and an identical bus with everything laterally changed will be on the other side. You put your bags there. You have to do customs there also. In other words, you do customs once in Hong Kong when you land, and another customs when you land at the border, and then you go into China. That time, I remember clearly, Sumitji, I was in 2-3 towns. Shenzhen is a big town. Then you go a little bit further up, place called Guangzhou, Tangsha, and all that stuff. The sun never came out. Smog, 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 all throughout the day. I never saw the sun. It was so bad. And this is 25 years ago. You can imagine how bad the air quality is now.
Sir, the problem is 62% of the Chinese power comes on coal. And the scam is what happens is the CCP sets the price of the unit. Okay, let's say it's 10 RMB per unit, example. But the coal is subject to bidding. So that is where the corruption is. The selling price is fixed, but the coal, how much of coal you will get, what price you will get, that is what CCP determines. So coal is the biggest scam of China for Chinese CCP. Imagine you are generating 62% of your power from coal, where the selling price is fixed or per unit, but the coal prices are arbitrary. Everybody gets a different price, and even the quantities are different. That's where CCP makes money. So they will never move to something like nuclear. Though China talks about I can have 1,000 nuclear warheads, but why it is not making nuclear power plants? Because their CCP cannot make money.
Next one, please. Maithili wants to know, Sumitji, is refining of shale oil different from crude oil?
Yes, ma'am. There is some changes which are required. It's not as simple as that, but we are putting money in. We already put around $10 billion there, and we'll be working closely with the Americans on that, because even for our growth, you cannot be dependent on Middle Eastern oil and gas. What Qatar did in the time of Nupur Sharma ji was a wake-up call, and we chose not to react at that point of time. But again, this is how it is not going to work. And let me tell you today directly, if there's a petrodollar, there's a petro-terror also. Petrodollar is a reality, petro-terror is also a reality. There are a lot of countries in the world which get petrol from a lot of Islamic countries, and in the return, they don't pay off anything. Pakistan is one of them. 2 times rollback, 3 times gaib. A third time is gone, disappeared.
Mohit Dubey wants to know, why is F22 not on the table?
Because even the Americans are not very happy with the F22. They don't find it as a very potent machine. F-35 at an incremental cost is a much better machine. There are talks of even phasing out F-22 in the later versions of it. And even the biggest advantage of F-22 was it could, kind of go up from the same place and land. I think in the F-35, I saw when they developed a latest version, which can again do the same thing. So it's basically a technology thing, not anything more than that. Cost, value, and technology benefits.
Next one, please. Shanks wants to know, do you foresee chicken neck becoming an elephant neck in the near future?
Sir, it will become a complete state in the near future. There will be nothing called no chicken's neck. Kuch bhi. Sab hamara, right hamara, left hamara. Everything is ours.
Next one, please. Amit Bali wants to know, have your information on whether Trump is bringing reciprocal tariff on India's IT service industry? Any idea how it will impact India's overall GDP?
Okay, there will be no reciprocal tariff on the IT industry so far. There are no confirmed reports on that. Even India has adjusted a lot of tariff demands of Trump's in the budget of which Nirmala ji presented. Third thing will be, even if you put a lot of tariff on the wherever things, your GDP impact will be minus 0.1%, because that is what it looks like right now. But if you look at a $500 billion trade, which we have been talking about, how much does 0.1% mean? Nothing. We live with it.
Next one, please. Bharat Ratnam wants to know, Chinese economy is $20 trillion. They would not get affected by loss of business of $400 billion USD.
That is what Chinese claim. According to us, the GDP is not more than $5 trillion, with a cumulative debt of $53 trillion, and with your where you are not importing so much of oil, where you have all the problems. You have to watch our end game China more often. And this is not what my thing is. If this was not a problem with China, why China will be rattled after this? Why China is licking India's boots for $100 billion over trade? Why is China so bothered about? They should say, okay, I don't want to do any business with India. So, कहते हाथी के दांत खाने के और दिखाने के और. This was all good to talk, but it's very difficult to walk.
Waste Reduce wants to know, Yunus in Bangladesh, what is next? Any update?
Yunus has to flee Bangladesh. He has a plane waiting in the Bangladesh airport.
No, he's already in Dubai. He's already in Dubai, according to reports.
He has got an evacuation team, which I was talking to you about. With the evacuation team, I don't know, it didn't come from the Blackwater guy. It came from somebody else. And with the evacuation team, he had planned it for long back. And after Bangladesh was really told that Mr. Modi will look into it, I think Yunus should go to Thailand or Malaysia. I've been telling you about, he can go to Thailand, he can go to Malaysia, or he can even go to Myanmar.
See, his one daughter was a minister in the UK cabinet. She got fired. Another daughter working in US State Department also got eased out. Monica Yunus. So nobody wants him right now. He is becoming a persona non grata. Let's see how much Hillary will rehabilitate. Yes, sir, now politicians are all one kind. Once you have become toxic, they will not even recognize your existence.
And Sanjay, I think Yunus and Pannu can find an island together, live there.
Yeah. And with chilluvar pani readily available. And Sanjay wants to say that as per Major Gaurav Aarya, Lockheed Martin has stopped manufacturing F-22 Raptor. Thanks for that update. And yeah,
I told
go
you
ahead.
that there is a possibility that they have stopped manufacturing, but it was not it. Looking at the cost benefit, that's why US was not very happy with the machine. Looking at the cost and the specs they get out of it, it is quite possible. I'm not sure have they stopped or not. It is quite possible that they would have already stopped manufacturing this because the major buyer of the machine was the American forces only. Their darling is F-16 Viper. Their darling is F-A-18. Then their super darling is F-35. That are the three weapon aircrafts they simply love. Even Lockheed wanted them to phase out F-16. They said, we'll get rid of the 16, but not Viper. So, there are some planes which you love. I mean, what to do? You look at Su-31. We are in love with that machine, whatever we call it. So, F-22 was not a hit win. That is why. And that feature of F-22, which I told you, that inverted takeoff and landing, that is already got into F-35 newer versions. They already have that feature. So it is basically a combination of 22 and 35. And F-35 recently with the Israeli conflict has proved its mettle far beyond its slugs. I really want to say
proof of the pudding is in the eating. Once you deploy it in the field and it comes through with the winner, that is the best certificate you can get.
Not like Chinese F-30 J-35 जो कागजों में उड़ता है which only flies on the papers only. That is how it is. Okay.
Yes, China's gamble on subsidizing EVs to monopolize the car market will backfire. Absolutely, it will. Not only that, the technology also has a problem in that.
Even when Trump came in, he said in 2030, Biden had this legislation. These amount of EVs have to be to win the car. These many petrol diesel cars have to be replaced. What did Trump come and say? The first 10 things he did say, no, 230 deadline. Drive the car you want. There's no need for EVs. That itself sets the game ulta. That itself changes the paradigms.
Next one, please. Thank you, Amaravati, today for your super sticker. And that brings us to a close of today's program. Fascinating discussion. Sumitji, we have had so much coverage on these India-US meetings. I mean, I'm very happy to say that PGurus probably did one of the most in-depth as well as most extensive coverage. And thanks for being one of the last ones in this crown on the whole program series. And we'll take the Ashirwad of Mahadev now. Thank you.
I would like to urge all our brothers and sisters, please like, share, and subscribe. This is a lot of information which we have got to you in 50-60 minutes. Answered a lot of questions. So your like, share, and subscribe really makes a difference to us. We will be meeting you tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock with Endgame China. And in the meanwhile, if you want, have a look at this website, SumitPeerCollections.com. A lot of interesting products there. On that note, your love, your patronage, and your trust will continue on us. And by the blessings of Lord Mahakal, will deliver our best all the time. On that note, Bharat Mata ki jai, Vande Mataram, and Har 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 Mahadev.
Mahadev.